be here in the side of Cape Town. I just drove from the other side, from Durbanville, and what a treat it was to see this beautiful scenery and to see this beautiful scenery. Wow, what a turnout at Summer 2019. So we're going to be talking about wellness, and of course with wellness we need to consider stress. So can you please all look at your lives at the moment as a whole? And out of a scale of 10, with 10 being really near death and 0 being no stress at all, what is your current stress level? If you're looking across the board, just think of a number. Okay, I'm going to ask for a show of hands, please. Anybody under 5? Can you raise your hands? Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And how many are we in the room here? Would you say 200? Okay. So we're looking at about 10 out of 200. How many people were between 5, 6, or 7? Okay, so a large amount, what, maybe half? You can put your hands down. And 8, 9? Okay. Anybody on 10? Eek. Well, I'm glad you're here. You're in the right place. Okay, so just take a moment now to check in with your body. Where are you feeling the stress in your physical body? Just go through the different areas. Just become aware. And even if you're feeling 1% of a slight twinge, it's still something. I still want you to count that. So we often get so used to our stresses or our aches or our pains that they don't bother us anymore. So I want you to consider those that don't bother you anymore. So go to those places in your body where you're feeling them, acknowledge them. Okay? Now, can you link an emotion that is connected with the stress in that particular place in your body that you went to? So if you're feeling this twinge in your shoulders or your neck, do you know where that's coming from? Do you notice that there are certain times where that is heightened? And when that is heightened, what is the emotion that is traveling through your body? What's going through your mind? Is it irritation? Is it frustration? Is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it hopelessness? Maybe there are more than one emotion, because of course we are interesting human beings and there's always this hue of colors in and around us. So take stock of that as well if there's more than one. And you might have a multitude of different aches or pains or stresses in the body with different emotional connections to that. So if you just completed this exercise, congratulate yourself for making a mind-body connection. That's what you have just done. And often our body struggles to heal or do what we want it to do, or we find ourselves repeating certain patterns in our life because this mind-body connection, the communication has broken down. So just by starting with that awareness, you are already strengthening that connection. And you are able now to invite the solution into your being. So I'm going to show you one technique that is going to improve, to balance what you have just assessed as a stress. So I'd like you all to take one hand, please, and place it very lightly on your forehead. So you want to almost be able to fit a feather between your hand and your forehead. And what's happening now is your hand is acting as a magnet. It's drawing blood to your prefrontal cortex. And when we are functioning with our conscious brain, we are much more alert. We have clarity, we have awareness. So I want you to bring to the foreground now of your thinking the emotion that you were previously thinking of, or emotions. You're not trying to solve anything. You're not trying to make it go away. I want you to be aware of it. Acknowledge it completely. Because what you are doing by holding this point on your forehead and bringing that acknowledgement to your emotion, you are allowing the different hemispheres in your brain, particularly subconscious and conscious, to balance that emotion. Take a deep breath in here. Now with your other hand, place this hand on the area of pain that you were thinking of, or stress or tension in the body. And if there was absolutely no area, you place it over your heart. So then you are doing a clearing purely that is emotional, or you're doing a mind-body clearing. This is a very, very powerful connection that you have made here. It's known as the self-healing connection. And in kinesiology, my sessions with clients, more than 90%, this shows up in just about every session as a healing technique. So take a deep breath in here, and you can relax your hand to the side. Thank you. So I've got many more of these techniques, which I'm going to be sharing some of them with you today, but I would also love to keep in contact with you and share even more exercises that you can use very quickly and easily on the go, especially in the profession that you are in. So if you would like to receive this information from me, please won't you put your email address down on the list that's going to go around. You're welcome also to take a pamphlet if you want my details, and then I will be in touch with you shortly. And one of the first emails you'll get from me is a PDF with 5 different stress management exercises. And these are tools, as I mentioned, that you can use on the go. How often, when people are in a space of, oh, I don't know what to do, you just naturally put your hand to your forehead. So it's an automatic technique that we use without even thinking about it. But knowing that when we hold it there for that little bit longer, knowing that when you add the breath, and knowing that when you connect a point of stress in the body, it's going to amplify that power and create that mind-body connection and the mind-body release as well. So something else that crops up, I would again say in more than 95% of the sessions, is people are stressed. Not even those who are in teaching, but just the life that we lead today, everybody's stressed about something or other. And when I listen to the way that people talk, it is a very clear indication where part of the stress is coming from. Yes, of course, we're all going to have challenges in life, and we're never going to be able to have a completely challenge-free life, but how are we going to deal with that? And one very crucial way is our language. What comes out of our mouth and what do we think? What is the self-talk going on inside of you? Remembering, especially very, very important as teachers, the brain mirroring effect. So you might come into the class with a smile on your face, but what's going on inside is you thinking about problems from home, or how do you deal with a particular student and getting emotional inside. what's going on in your brain is being projected and reflected in the brains of the students around you. So you want to always make sure that you are managing yourself. You are managing your emotions. You are managing your thoughts. So it takes some training, but it's worth it. So you can start by observing yourself. How do I talk? Do I talk more in the negative? Am I more answering about things that are problematic, things that are negative, things that are causing me stress? Often when I ask people, so how are you? It's a download of what is going wrong in their life and the way that how terrible that they're feeling right now. Very few people authentically, besides, and I'm not talking about the phrase of, oh, I'm fine, but authentically can answer with looking at the good and being grateful for what is. So we might know these things, but do we put it into practice? So I encourage you to have a journal. Have a journal of your speech, of your language. How are you talking outwardly to people? Is there a lot of moaning? Because remember, the more that we focus on a particular problem, the more we help it to reoccur. And I'm not at all saying that we must not be realistic, but we must be realistic and optimistic at the same time. So yes, we have a challenge, but now let's work with this from a solution base. And there's a lovely little exercise that I would love to share with you that many of my clients have used, and I've shared this in many other teacher wellness workshops, and feedback afterwards, this has been really successful. So when you get home today, please find a little bag or a container, a box or something, where you are going to store your worries. And then you're going to write down on a piece of paper a phrase or a word that is representative of each worry of yours. So not the whole story, just 1 or 2 points. And you cut that strip of paper off, and you might have a few strips of paper. Then you fold them up and you put them in your container. Then you go to your diary and you make an appointment with yourself of when you are going to be having a meeting with your worry box. And at that date and time, you stick to that and you treat it as a meeting with anybody else that you would. So you switch off your phone, you are focused. Let's say you've dedicated 20 minutes, and you can do it in a variety of ways. You can choose one paper randomly, or you can go to a specific area, a specific worry or problem that you actually need to focus on now. And you spend that time being action-based, being solution-based, writing down, creating brain maps. If you need to start with venting, then do that. If you need to let out those emotions first because they are just all-encompassing in your mind, do that on paper because it's an act of releasing. And when the brain sees that you are writing that down, it is easier for it to let go of that emotion. And once you've vented, then you can move into, okay, what can I do? If you feel that, oh, I don't know what to do, start with ideas that even seem over the top that would never happen. What you are doing here is you are inviting the right side of your brain to become active and to start thinking of solutions. And the act of writing is another invitation for the right brain to be active. And then when your 20 minutes is up, you pack everything away and you carry on with your day. Now, if those worries that are in the box want to come back into your mind again, you tell them, and you might need to actually verbalize this sometimes because the brain is very powerful, but you say to them, I have got an appointment with you on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. So I know that you are there, and I will talk to you on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. But for now, I need to focus on something else. So if you have concerns that you need to have a meeting twice a day, then do that. You will know where you are with your situations. So try this. Especially if your brain is saying, I don't know if that's really going to work. You know, our brain is a wonderful activator for keeping us in our comfort zones, even when our comfort zones are not beneficial to us. And it's this game that it plays because it's been designed for us to use as little energy of the brain as possible. So it's doing what it is designed to do, which is wonderful. So you need to know beforehand that your brain will come in with excuses of why you can't keep the meeting, or why I can't make the worry box, or why I can't continue with a certain solution-based program. But know that this is part of the program that the brain has been used to. And if it's been used to functioning in a certain way, it's going to take some training, like with anything else. Learning something, a new skill, a new language, it is training. And that's literally what we're training the brain to do. A new language, solution-based language. And when you start really engaging with this, and this starts to become a part of your way of being, a part of your way of thinking, a part of your way of talking, you will start to see the changes take place in people around you, in the situations around you, in the way that you are managing and handling things. It's very simple, but it's very powerful. So I have the pleasure of working with the Bach flower remedies. Anybody here know of the Bach flower remedies? A few people do. Does anybody here know of the rescue remedy? Okay. So rescue remedy is comprised of 5 of the different Bach flower remedies. I brought my box here. It's in the front over there, just so that you can see. That's a full complement, 38 different Bach flower remedies. Thank you so much. So Dr. Bach, who created this full complement, his first combination was the rescue remedy, and this was about 80 years ago in Wales. And he started as an allopathic doctor, went on to become a homeopath, and combined the two for a while. And it was through his own journey of self-healing for himself, because he was given 3 months to live. And he was sitting in a park one day, and the dewdrops on the leaves and flowers next to him were inviting to him for some reason. And so he ingested this, and he noticed an immediate reaction. And so began his journey of working with different high-frequency flowers and plants. It's similar to herbs in a way. And the reason that I'm telling you this is Dr. Bach eventually stopped all his medical practice traditionally, and he only used the Bach flower remedies, because he could see that whether a patient was coming in with a shoulder pain or backache or digestive issues, or had been in an accident, or was experiencing depression or couldn't sleep, when the emotions and the mental states were balanced, everything in life, including physically, followed suit. So we need to listen to our emotions very, very closely. Remember, stress is a signal. It's a message to tell us, whoa, hang on, we need to take stock of what's happening here in the body, in the mind, in the way that we are reacting. So the body is an amazing device that when we learn to listen to it and follow it, it's actually quite simple. But it's the first act of really connecting with that sometimes is that challenge, which is why I say to you, be very aware of one's monkey mind. One very simple but effective tool, time and time again, is the breath. So if you give yourself just a few seconds in a heated moment to just stop and take a deep breath in, what you're doing is you're oxygenating your brain, and all of a sudden, your response that you were going to give 5 seconds ago, or actually reaction rather, and your response that you would give now, will more than likely be different in some way or another, even perhaps just in the tone of your voice. So let's do a breathing exercise together now. If you can please sit in your chair with a straight spine and with your feet flat on the floor. Okay, so let's just roll our shoulders back a few times just to open up the chest area, and then end on a rolling back. And now just become aware of your breath. How are you breathing right now? Is the breath ending in your chest? Is it going down a little bit deeper? Are you taking full breaths in? Don't try and change anything now, just become aware. And then if you feel comfortable enough, you can close your eyes or just commit to staring at one spot in front of you, on the table, on the floor, wherever you're positioned. And I want you to slowly start to extend your breath now. So really feel the breath go deeper into your body, expanding the rib cage, and then letting that go. Take another nice long deep breath in, and let that go. We're going to do an exercise called 4-5-6, which is 4 breaths in, 5 holding, and 6 out. I'm going to count you through it. We're going to do it a few times. And each time I want you to notice where you feel most comfortable and where you feel most uncomfortable. With the in-breath, with the hold, or the out-breath. Okay, so prepare yourself to begin. And let's go. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Now hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Inhale again, expand the rib cage, feel yourself completely relaxed. And now hold the breath and hold that relaxation. Keep that peace and calm as you hold, and then exhale and let it go completely as your body continues to relax and be at ease. Do one more round on your own. And when you're done, you can bring yourself back to the room. Can I have a show of hands? Who found this exercise most difficult with the in-breath? Thank you. Holding the breath and out-breath. Okay, thank you. So there can be a variety of reasons why a particular section of the breathing is a little bit more sustained or a little bit more difficult, more challenging. So you can think of the breath not only as physical, but from a metaphysical perspective. So if we're struggling to breathe in, take something in, where else are we struggling to take into our lives? If we're struggling to breathe out, where are we struggling to let go of in our lives? And if we're struggling to hold, what are we struggling to process? And that often comes with very busy lifestyles, and it's fast-paced, and we've got a lot of deadlines, and we struggle to hold a space for a while. So this exercise you can do with your students. Of course, children respond amazingly well with the breath, and very, very quickly. It's great for the different brain hemispheres. It's great for the immune system and just being very grounded in the body. So if you're not using any breathing technique, I would encourage you to do so. Sometimes when I was teaching different mind-body classes at various preschools, particularly the preschools and some of the early grades of the primary schools, and when I was accepting a class after break time or just on the beginning of school, the kids are coming in and they are just so erratic and wild, and I would use the breath. Sometimes I would even get them to lie down just for 2 minutes, lying flat on the back. And this is what I encourage you to do as well for yourself. 2 minutes lying flat on your back in the middle of the day is equal to recharging your brain and your cells to a morning state, to how you feel when you are best functioning in the morning. So it really is as simple as that straight spine, not a pillow under the head. You want the straight spine and the deep breathing. And you're recharged to continue for the day. So going back to the brain hemispheres that I was talking about a few moments ago, you know, when we are emotional, when we are in a position where we have got a lot of multitasking happening, and I think teachers are pretty good at multitasking, but actually multitasking is stressful. It's highly stressful. And what happens with the communication with different brain hemispheres, it has this sort of reaction where it goes into a bit of an erratic, chaotic function. And that's when we start to feel, what must I do? We feel a bit panicky, or we just want to retract and not face the situation at all. So in those moments, and this again means body awareness, instead of just going and surging forward and saying, no, I'm going to deal with this and we'll just march on and we'll sort it out, be aware, hang on, I am feeling a little bit frantic now. Let me do a brain balance for myself. And the brain balances are so easy and quick, and they happen within 20 to 30 seconds. All you've got to do is place one hand over your navel. So if you can do that now, this is activating your central nervous system. Your other hand, thumb and 2 fingers, you're going to take them and put them on your protruding collarbone points just below your throat, and you're going to move them in a circular motion. Now you might find that this area can be a little bit tender, so you keep on rubbing in that spot. I'm going to stop because I've got mics here. If you've got a particular tender spot, you want to go there because that's talking to you. You want to work that. And then halfway through, you swap your hands around. Reason being, we've got different polarities on different sides of our body. So we want to get the maximum benefit. Okay, so now that we've done a left and right brain balance, we're going to do a top and bottom brain balance. Same concept, hand on the navel, 2 fingers this time, tapping firmly around your mouth any direction. We have got thousands of receptor sites on our face connected with our brain, and around the mouth it's all to do with our top and bottom hemispheres. How is the upstairs and downstairs communicating? Then you swap your hands around and you go in the opposite direction. Nice and firmly. Again, if there's an area that's standing out as a little bit sensitive, go there. And then the last one, connecting our subconscious and conscious hemispheres. Now this, in my sessions with clients, comes up 98% of the time. So this is something you can do for yourself at least 3 times a day. Hand on the navel, 2 fingers now, base of the spine, just above the coccyx. Rub firmly, circular motions. Again, go to where the place feels a little bit niggly or ana, or that it's going to feel good. And it often does feel sensitive here. Then you swap your hands around, do it for another few seconds. And well done, you congratulate yourself. You have just given yourself a full brain balance. So one last technique that I would like to share with you, which is Again, very prominent, but it's one of those that covers all bases. So it helps to de-stress the body physically and improve the immune system. It also helps with the thyroid. So if you are feeling low in energy and if you know that you've got thyroid issues, this is going to be a good one. It helps to bring the brain back into balance, and it also helps with spinal alignment. Now remember, when our spine is aligned, our central nervous system is functioning as it needs to be, and as well, our internal organs are going to be positioned correctly. Many times diseases, illnesses start by a poor posture. Okay, so be very aware of your posture. When our organs are placed correctly, they can function optimally. So we're going to be working with the hyoid. So the hyoid is the only free floating bone in the body, and it's just behind the larynx. I want you to imagine this as the compass point. And on your compass, this is the center. You've got north here under the chin, you've got south in the little concave, and then you've got east and west on the side. Now there are 16 muscles around the hyoid, and they keep it in place. When we get stressed, this bone moves out of position, and that affects the whole system, which is why I say it's crucial to keep this little bone happy. Very simple exercise. Thumb and two fingers together. The motion that you're going to be doing is this motion on those north, south, east, west points. Okay, so let's take it to north, and you're just opening up your fingers. That's great. What you're doing now is you're actually sending a message to the brain to say, strengthen and align these muscles, and the brain responds like that. Let's do it now with south. So it's just 4 or 5 motions, and then we go east and west. And usually what I will do in a session, I would test the hyoid and the functionality of the thyroid. So I had a lady in on Friday, and her functionality started off at around about 44%. We took it up with just this exercise to 88. Then I did it again with her, and we took it up to 98. So it's very, very quick that it takes place. And ladies, I do recommend for us, with our particular hormonal system, this is shown to be extremely beneficial hormonally as well. So diarize these little techniques for yourself to do at the start of your day. You can see the brain balancing, what's that, 20, 40, 60, a minute, and you can have all your brain hemispheres balanced. This one, you can take 30 seconds maybe, and holding your prefrontal cortex and maybe a stressed area of the body, another 30 seconds, and there you have got 2 minutes of a wellness technique for yourself that you know works. And then again, to give yourself, invest in yourself, another 2 minutes in the middle of your day, because we will go off center, because we will have challenges. And again, at the end of the day, if you're struggling with sleep, this is a great technique before you go to sleep and in the middle of the night if you're waking up. Okay, a well-rested teacher is a fully functioning and optimizing teacher. So do these little techniques for yourself, and it works with an accumulative effect, which means that just like when you put money into your investment, you're not going to see that growth necessarily tomorrow or next week. It takes time, and every month you might add a little bit more, and you see that interest grow. It's the same with the body, physically, mentally, and emotionally. But do remember to work with the root, and the root is those emotions. Those emotions that are now stored in the body as a physical stress point, and those emotions that come out when we react to things. So use the worry box technique, or if you've got another technique for yourself that works to help shift your perspective, be committed to that. I have brought a few bottles with me today. If anybody would like me to make up a personalized Bach remedy for you, I will be staying a few minutes afterwards, and you're welcome to come and chat to me, and that is a wonderful support for you throughout the day to help you be calm, be focused, or whatever it is that you are having challenge with. We've got remedies in here which helps to balance minds that are all over the place, as well as when we're thinking too much in the future or too much of the past, or are we living in guilt and regret? So absolutely any combination of emotion we can deal with. Are there any questions before we close? Then I'd like to ask you, can I just have a show of hands of which techniques did you find were the most useful and that you'll actually go and use today? So let's start with the hyoid, the stress releasing one. And of course you can choose more than one, so just let me see a raise of hands. Thank you so much. The brain balances. Thank you. The emotional, mental and physical stress release points. Thank you. Breathing. Yes, so simple, and we don't need to go anywhere for the therapy. What about the worry box? Is anybody going to do the worry box? Awesome. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed our time together.